Hi everyone, it's Karen from Blue Rooster Farms, and today we are going to be making some corn and ham chowder. I've gathered up all of my supplies, and come along with me and I'll show you how to make it. Okay. First thing, I'm going to move you down here so you can see what I'm doing. You don't need to look at me, you need to look at what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to be making it in my Instant Pot, but I'm not using it as an Instant Pot, I'm just using it as a hot pot. Okay, so what I have here is a lot of ingredients that we have from our garden. I've put up potatoes and onions and corn, made turkey broth, which is like a chicken broth, onions and peppers I chop and freeze, got some parsley here. So we're going to use all the good things that come out of our garden and make a wonderful chowder today. Now you'll see as I'm making this that my ingredients are not measured out, because one thing with making soups and chowders, you can add things that you like and leave out things that you don't like, and it's all to taste. So this is just kind of to give you a basic recipe of how this is made. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this pot on to saute, and I'm going to take some of my frozen red peppers, and what we do is we grow our peppers, and this is just sweet red peppers. I chop them up finely, put them in Ziploc bags, and I freeze them, and it's so easy to pull them out and add them to recipes. And so I'm going to add fourth a cup to a third of a cup of red peppers. Again, this is not something you have to have. We have it, we like the taste, and it looks really pretty in the chowder. Then I have some of our onions, and again, I'm just going to whack them. Sorry about the noise. And I'm going to add about an onion, the amount of one onion, and so that might be 3/4 to 1 cup of chopped onions. And if you don't grow your own onions, you can still do this. Chop up your onions real nice for however size you like them, and put them into Ziploc bags and freeze them. It makes it so easy when you're baking and cooking. They're already chopped up. You don't have to mess with it. And so that's what I would do if I didn't have my own that we have to chop up to be able to preserve. So I've got my onions and my peppers in here. I'm now going to add a little olive oil. You could add any kind of oil. And this chowder, you can add any vegetable you like. So I'm going to add 2 or 3 tablespoons of oil just to help saute those vegetables. You know, and as I'm talking to you, you know, I'm thinking, okay, we've got potatoes, we've got corn, we've got the onions, we've got the peppers. You know, carrots would be really good to add to this too. And that would add another health benefit, because one thing we like about soups is that they are healthier. They're healthy for us, especially when you have all the vegetables in it. So I think I'm going to add a carrot. So I would say that's probably almost a cup of carrots. And that'll make a pretty color in our chowder. Okay, they're going to be added. It's still getting the veggies inside there are still thawing out. So I'm just going to sprinkle about a big teaspoon for now. That will just help those vegetables. Okay. So right now that is what it looks like. It's going to soften those veggies up a little bit more, and then we'll start adding our other ingredients. Okay. So let me bring you back down to our cutting mat. All right, I think you can see there. Yep. So the next thing we're going to chop up is our ham, and we have a big ham that we just split up. We baked it and split it up and put it in individual bags so that it is more user-friendly for us, since it's just my husband and I. And we're just going to cut these pieces, it's still frozen, into bite-sized chunks. These are slices. It was a spiral ham. So they may look big, but when they thaw out, they will be smaller because they're sliced. Get rid of that fat. You can keep it if you like it. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it since I've added some olive oil already. And we don't really care to bite into a big piece of fat. All right. Okay, there is my ham. Now we freeze our own corn. This is just corn, nothing added to it. So I'm going to thaw it out in the microwave just a little bit so it won't cool down our chowder too much when we add it. Okay. And then I have parsley from the garden from last summer. And it's much better to have fresh parsley than the dried. It adds a lot better flavor. So I'm going to take a couple big handfuls of that. And to freeze your parsley, all you do is pick it. I rinse mine. A lot of people don't even rinse theirs if they know theirs isn't dirty. I like to rinse mine. Rinse it, kind of blot it dry with a towel. Stick it in Ziploc bags. And you are good to go. If you have some big pieces that are stems, you might go ahead and get rid of those. But when you freeze it, the leaves shatter, and so you really don't need to chop it up too much. Okay, so I'm going to put my onions, peppers, and parsley back in the freezer. You could definitely add garlic. I'm not going to do a clove of garlic right now since I'm kind of in a hurry. I am just going to add granulated garlic, but you can use any kind of garlic you want, and however much you like. That was about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to put a little pepper in there. However much you like. Lift this up again so you can see. Sizzling away. All right, I'm going to open up my turkey broth. And that is just the fat on the turkey broth floating to the top. Okay. That smells good. Add that to my sauteed veggies, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water and kind of rinse my jar out to get as much of that good flavor as I can. Okay, there we go. Then let's take our potatoes. Actually, let's go ahead and add our ham and parsley. We'll just throw all of this in. And let's take our can of potatoes. Now you can use whatever potatoes you have. You can have fresh potatoes that you cut up. You'll just have to cook it a little longer. These are some that we canned with the skins on. They're just the babies. So I'm going to cut these up a little bit. And I'm going to see if I can cut them up in here. If not, I can pull them out. Okay, let's pour part of this and see what we got. I'm adding the liquid too. Get some of these down here. Chop them up. Now, if you wanted your pieces to look nicer, you can definitely take it out and quarter up those little potatoes. But once it cooks, they do cook down and kind of round off their edges naturally. So, and your soup will be thickened, so you won't have to worry about it not looking that good. It's all going to incorporate. All right, this is what we've got right now. Okay, looking good. Okay, let's see how our corn's doing. Perfect. It's thawed out. You can just pour the whole bag in there. Again, you add however much you want. There's no right number and no wrong number. We've got great assortment in here. It's looking really, really good. I'm going to add a couple bay leaves at this point. And I have not tasted for seasonings, but I will at the very end, and I will adjust any seasonings that I think I need. I am going to add, I like to have a little bit of a kick, so I am going to add a little bit of pepper. You can add your cayenne pepper, just a little bit of cayenne pepper. We, like I said, we grow our own peppers, and what I do is I dry them either in the dehydrator or let them hang, and then I grind them up in a coffee grinder, and I make a nice powder. Now this isn't hot like cayenne pepper, but it does have a little bit of a kick, so I can add quite a bit of it and it won't be overly spicy. I think this was my chili pie peppers. And I think these were from the year before last. And I've got these in the freezer just because I've had them longer. Taste them. They're good. They're sweet, but then after you eat them, it's like, ooh, there's a little bit of heat with them too. So that'll be perfect. I don't care for extremely hot stuff. I like just a little kick. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to let you see what this looks like. Let me scoop this over here. And then I'm going to let this cook for probably about 20 or 30 minutes. Then I'll come back and we will thicken it up and add milk or cream to make our chowder. At this point, you could certainly eat this soup just the way it is. If you just want a vegetable soup with ham and corn and potatoes, just make sure you've got the seasonings that you like in there, and this would be perfect. But when you make a chowder, you're going to thicken it up, and this is going to be a cream one, so we're going to add milk with it, and it'll be really delicious, especially for those hot days or those cold days. It will make you warm. So I'll bring you back when we've cooked it for about 30 minutes. All right, welcome back. It has been about 20 minutes, and this is looking really good. It is bubbling up. And let me see what I can show you here. Okay, so there's what we have. It is bubbling nicely. It's actually going a little heavier than I'd like, but I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to be adding some milk and some flour to thicken. So let's see. All right, so let's see how we make the thickener for our chowder. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start off with about a half a cup, maybe a little bit more of flour. And I've just got it here in the bowl. Okay. So I've got my flour in here. I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to stir in milk. Now you want to have a little bit more milk than you have of flour. Okay, so I've just poured in some milk on top. Now this is cold milk and you're wanting to stir that into the flour. Okay. And what you're doing is you're trying to get it all together and no lumps. And it's it's going to be like a loose pancake batter. Once you have it nice and smooth, we're going to add it to our soup mixture, and this will thicken it up, the liquid in there, to make it a chowder. Okay, so let me hold this up for you. So it is like a loose pancake batter. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir with one hand and I'm going to pour with the other. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to add a little bit of extra milk in here because I want to make this a cream chowder. And this is whole milk. You can add whatever kind you like. Okay, so now I'm going to add my flour mixture and I'm going to stir it really good so I don't have any big lumps. Okay. Now if you take a look at this, oops, sorry, you can see that it is starting to get a little bit thick. I cooled it down with that milk and it cooled down with the flour mixture, so we'll let it heat back up and let that flour cook, and it's going to get nice and thick. Now if you get it too thick, you can add more milk. If it's not thick enough, you can make more of your flour and milk mixture. Let's see what this is going to do. Pull out a spoon and just let you see the nice chunks of everything in there. Doesn't that look good? Okay, it's not thickened up as much as I'd like for it to be yet. It's getting there. Now, if you wanted to make this a cheesy soup, this is where you would be adding, after you've thickened it to the right consistency, you'd be adding your shredded cheese and then just turning it off the heat and stirring in that cheese. Okay, let's see what we got. Closer. And when it cools, it will be thicker as well. This has a pretty creamy consistency. You can see how it coats my spoon. So I like that consistency right there. If you wanted it thicker, you could add more flour and milk and stir it, cook it in. If you like it thinner, more milk will thin it out. Okay, I'm going to turn this down to low and just let it simmer until we're ready to eat it. And I'll show you what the serving looks like when we're all done. All right, let's serve up some of this delicious chowder. You can see that as it's cooked on low, it has thickened up. So we're going to put some of this in a bowl right here. And you're going to see how good it looks. Doesn't that look good? Nice and creamy, colorful. Again, we can top it off with a little cheese, put some croutons on it. And make it look yummy and taste yummy. So here's a little cheese. Get a bag of croutons opened up. Doesn't that look good? Now there is dinner. All right, you guys have a great week and we'll see you soon.